Howdy friends, and welcome to an adventure I'm sure you're going to enjoy. Today's destination is the second largest canyon in the United States. Palo Duro Canyon is just south of Amarillo, Texas, and not far off Interstate 40. Near the town of Canyon, as you drive through the vast crop and ranch land of the Texas Panhandle and approach the park, you will be treated to an incredible view. Here is a map of the Texas Cap Rock. You can see the jagged ridge that runs north to south on the map just to the right of Amarillo. The zipper-looking area below the black dot next to Amarillo is Palo Duro Canyon, and is easy to spot if you fly over the area. The Cap Rock sits quite a bit higher than the area to the east and south of it. Palo Duro Canyon was formed by the Prairie Dog Creek Fork of the Red River, which runs down to Cap Rock Canyon State Park and then eastward to the Red River, which forms the northeast border between Texas and Oklahoma. From flat, arid ranch land to the oasis of a tree-lined canyon, you will be welcomed by a friendly park ranger and several Texas Longhorns. Huge cattle drives went through the area just west of Palo Duro Canyon as cattle were driven up from Mexico through northeast Texas up to the railheads in Kansas. In the early days, they say this area was nothing but waist-high grass for hundreds of miles. Many early settlers actually got lost as there were few landmarks along the way, and some rode in circles until they ran out of food and water. Today we're going to zero in on this amazing park and some of its amazing scenery, wildlife, fauna, and camping opportunities, including accessible camps. Make sure you bring plenty of water and shade if you come during the summer months, which includes May through September here in Texas. The spring and fall months are the prettiest times of the year, and I like going during the fall because most of the flowers and trees are all bloomed out. As we travel down the winding road to the park floor, keep your eyes peeled for wildlife, scenic turnouts, and some spectacular views depending on the time of day that you visit. This area has a rich history dating back to 12,000 years, when early man hunted mammoth and bison in this area. It is believed that the Spanish discovered the canyon and named it Palo Duro, which is Spanish for hard wood or hard stick. Looking at the campground map, you will see that there are several camping areas. There are 95 sites with electricity and 17 sites with water. As you come down from the park headquarters, there are some cabins on the rim, and be sure to stop by the visitor center for some beautiful scenic overlooks. Down the winding road, you will see the Pioneer Amphitheater, where the musical Texas is performed on an open stage. The first campsite you'll come to is Sagebrush, which we will visit later. As you cross the creek, there's the Hackberry Camp area, where there are a lot of trees. Further to the south is the Juniper Campground, with 3 really nice concrete accessible campsites. Other campgrounds along the way are tent only, day use, and group camping. I did not video every campsite on this video. I think they are all pretty similar, and you can go to Reserve America and they have pictures of all the campsites there. I'm just highlighting some of the ones that I think are more accessible, and you'll get an idea of what the other sites look like. This area was popular with the Comanche, Kiowa, and Cheyenne Indian tribes. They used the canyon area in the winter to protect themselves from the wind and the weather of the Great Plains. The area had a water supply, trees, and protection, and enabled them to contain their large herds of horses. The Comanche tribe, referred to by many as the Lords of the Plains, frequented this area often as they followed and lived off the massive bison herds that roamed the grasslands of the central United States. The Comanche tribe, especially the Coyote branch, whose chief, Quanah Parker, was the famous half-white chief and a fearless warrior protecting his tribe's existence in this area. They were the last tribe of Indians to be conquered by the United States, primarily because they were known as being the greatest horsemen in all of human history. They were able to ride horses bareback and shoot arrows from underneath the horse's neck or underneath the horse's belly, making them a formidable foe as they battled the conventional U.S. Army. They moved quietly and swiftly and were very smart. Many Army troops pursuing them would wake up only to find their horses missing, or worse, they would wake up in the middle of the night with the horses stampeding through their campsite and away with the Comanches. They were a particular thorn in the side of the U.S. Army, and the full moon became known as the Comanche moon because the nighttime raids and mayhem the Indians perpetrated on soldiers and settlers. The Comanche reign ended around September 28, 1874, when Colonel Randall Mackenzie and a huge number of soldiers raided the Comanches in Palo Duro Canyon, scattering or killing many of the warriors. The biggest blow was that all of the teepees and food were burned, and the 1,200 to 1,400 horses were rounded up and killed. With their horses and rations depleted and winter approaching, Quanah Parker negotiated peace and took his people to reservations near present-day Lawton, Oklahoma, near Fort Sill. Quanah Parker was 27 years old when he became chief and lived to an old age and was considered a great chief and a great statesman. I've actually met Quanah Parker's grandson and have a cabin in what was once called Comanche. As I travel through the park, I always like to think back to what previous generations saw when they came here, what their life was like, what kind of clothes did they wear, how did they get along, what did they eat. Palo Duro Canyon was definitely something that caught their eye and I'm sure amazed everyone. On the west side of the park, you will witness some of the hoodoos, with the most famous one being the landmark Lighthouse Hoodoo, which sticks out on the edge of a large rock formation. The park is filled with different types of trees, including cottonwoods, juniper, mesquite, and hackberry, to name a few. Cactus such as the prickly pear, yuccas, and others dot the landscape. You're likely to see all types of reptiles such as lizards and snakes, and yes, there are rattlesnakes in this area, so watch out where you ride or walk. Depending on the time of the year, you will be treated to numerous wildflowers. We spotted some dotted gay feather and spiny goldenweed. You also find all types of migratory Tweety birds, and you'll find that the buzzards congregate in the south end of the park in some large trees in the morning and evenings. You will likely see many of the Rio Grande wild turkeys that roam the area, as well as greater roadrunners and mockingbirds. Back to our park map, I have highlighted where the ADA campsites are, along with other campsites which I would deem accessible because they are flat, barrier-free, and have good access around the campsite. I will include a copy of this map in the information below the video. The bathrooms are pretty decent at all of the campsites, and at the day use area, there's ample parking and concrete paths to picnic tables if you want to just stop and eat lunch. Sagebrush campsites number 144, 145, and 146 are paved. I don't see them on the map as designated handicap sites, but they're all nice and across from an accessible restroom. The only negative is there's not a lot of shade, so bring your own. Sagebrush campsite number 136, although it's not designated wheelchair accessible, has a nice driveway, electrical hookups, and a covered picnic table, but not a lot of shade otherwise. There's some tall mesquites around there and some really great views from this locations. Down the road, Hackberry site number 14 is very nice, even though it is not designated wheelchair accessible. It does have an asphalt drive-in, covered picnic table with the dirt that comes all the way up to the picnic pad so you can actually access the picnic table. It has plenty of trees around it, and I think it would work well as long as it was not rainy. Hackberry site 28 is another site that is not designated wheelchair accessible, but has a nice long driveway for your RV. It has a picnic table, however, it was not covered, but the land was flat around it and you had decent access with room for a large tent. There are 3 beautiful pull-through ADA sites in the Juniper Campgrounds, Site 111, 113, and 115, which for some reason, I cannot find the video for, but you can access these beautiful, accessible sites on Reserve America. All other campsites can be viewed there as well. Drive slowly through the park and enjoy the amazing geological formations, the plants, and the wildlife. The land around Palo Duro Canyon was previously private rangeland, and the state bought the park in 1933. The Civilian Conservation Corps, or the CCC, spent the next 5 years building the park. It is 120 miles long and the second largest park in Texas at 28,000 acres. Many people come to the canyon to watch the musical Texas, performed in an outdoor theater since 1966. It's the best attended outdoor history drama in the United States. As you drive up the rim of the canyon, you can see a pretty spectacular view to the east and to the north. If you have time, take some time at the top and explore the view. Obviously, it's not the Grand Canyon, but you can actually go down in this canyon and explore. Well, I hope you enjoyed your visit to Palo Duro Canyon. I was actually born in Amarillo and remember coming here as a young boy and getting an ice cream cone and seeing people feed the deer by the snack bar. When you look out across the canyon, think of those that came before us, and what a wonder it must have been. I'm going to end with some beautiful pictures during the golden hour nearing sunset. Be sure to like and subscribe to my channel so you won't miss future adventures. Until then, enjoy and so long.